Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the Breakouts Call for Papers Bootcamp for Google Cloud Next 2020. My name is Lauren Thielen, and I manage the Breakouts program for Next. I'm joined by Mark Ferrone, who oversees event content programs, including our keynotes and interactive learning programs. Okay, I'm going to talk you through the agenda before I hand it over to Mark. We're going to talk through Google Cloud Next 2020, some call for papers, what to expect information, and then Mark's going to have a quick chat on submission best practices with one of our content curators. And then we'll look at key dates and open it up to any questions. This meeting will be recorded, so for anyone unable to attend or wants to go back and watch it later, it will be available.
Thank you for joining. So this is the first time we've ever done a Call for Papers bootcamp before the actual Call for Papers went live. And the goal is really for Call for Papers is to help drive, the right set of submissions. We were challenged last year in that we received overwhelming responses, but we weren't able to get them all in. So we were trying to basically reduce the number, but increase the quality. So for next year, in case you didn't know, we're kicking it off on April 6th, a Monday through Wednesday program, and it will be a global event, and we're looking to drive about 80% of the audience from the United States, and then another 20% outside the United States. So about 3.5% from Latin America, 8% from Europe, and then Asia Pacific and Japan, about 2% for Japan and almost 5% for Asia Pacific. So we are looking for interesting examples of customer innovation and how people are innovating on Google Cloud from around the world. We know that innovation comes in all shapes and sizes from all different parts of the world. And in terms of who's coming, we are expecting about 18% of the 40,000 to be executives that will be coming to our Leader Circle program, as well as IT decision makers that will be featured at different other programs. And we have a strong following of technical practitioners who we expect to be coming, as well as architects and then other roles around industry verticals. Next is really a portfolio of different programs all happening in concert together. We will have many keynotes, but in addition, we have analyst program. We have a partner summit also going on. We will also have developer sessions as well as Fifth Nine Lounge. But there's a multitude of programs going on. But in terms of core content programming, we are going to feature several keynotes, both on Monday and Tuesday. Specifically in the morning, we'll have our main stage keynotes with business and vision. And then we'll do a partner summit, which is mainly for partners to give them kind of direction of the ecosystem. And then we'll feature a Tuesday developer keynote. We'll also feature product keynotes across a portfolio of different products, featuring product announcements across key areas of artificial intelligence and machine learning, data management, migration, hybrid cloud containers, security, smart analytics, and workforce transformation. And these also will be other areas that will probably feature customer success, and they might be pulled from our breakout submissions. We'll also feature another session format called Spotlight Sessions, where we feature industry partners as well as solutions from our industries and possibly customer innovations. And then for the call for participation, really looking for the breakouts, we're planning to feature probably over 550 breakouts next year. Goal is to have at least 50% of them featuring customers, either customer-led or Google with a customer or partner with a customer. So it's really important to have that innovation and that perspective to share with your peers if you're a customer, because that's why the attendees are coming to Next, is to hear from peers and to exchange ideas on innovation. So that's really the goal. And we'll also hopefully move to have a 50% diversity and inclusion goal with our speakers, because we know that diversity leads to innovation. So I'll pass it back to Lauren for what to expect.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, so just to reiterate a little bit about what Mark said on our goals for this coming year, we are looking to increase our technical content. So between intermediate and advanced sessions, that's around 70% of the overall portfolio of content. And then speaker distribution, you can see here, we're looking just under 50% for Googler-led sessions, and then the other half with our customers and partners led. And here's a sneak peek at our 16 curriculum tracks this year. Not a lot of change from last year, but these are the tracks that you will want to submit your content into via the call for papers. Okay, so we are launching our call for papers a little later today, so keep your eyes out for that. One thing I do want, or a couple things I want to highlight, one being our FAQ. We've put a lot of work into building this amazing, thorough FAQ. So please do take a look at that before you submit. I think that you'll find there's a lot of helpful information in there to help you through the CFP submission process. We'll also be posting the recording from this bootcamp as well as the slides on there. Okay, also read through this page. There are some helpful submission hints here around just timeouts and having only one URL open, things like that, that'll make it a little more easy for you when you do go to submit your session. And then you will be able to select from either a breakout session or a panel discussion. Okay. What will I need to include in my submission? So here's a high-level look at some of the things we're capturing. Again, I want to direct you back to our FAQ, which will have even more detail. But we ask that you start thinking about these things now, because if you do get accepted, we don't want to have a lot of cleanup around titles and abstracts and speakers. So really take the time to think about these before you do submit. So titles, think about things that'll stand out. So short and easy to read, but have some description in them. Abstract should is meant to be a clear and concise description of what you're planning to cover in your session. You have two formats again, the breakout or panel discussion. And then you will pick from one of the 16 tracks that was listed on the previous slide. And then once you pick your track, there'll be additional subcategories and products and solutions for you to select from. We have the 3 learning levels, introductory, intermediate, and advanced. You can find those descriptions in the FAQ. Please do read these and make sure the learning level you select meets what the abstract is presenting. And then audience takeaways. So these should describe new or expanded skills the audience will walk away with. So I will say that this is very important in the CFP review when we go through our voting stage. These are very important. So please don't just plug in TBD or, ... Actually take time to think through what your goals and objectives are for your submission or what this session would be and what the audience will take away from it. It's very important. And then again, we are requesting you submit the speaker, so you hopefully are the speaker yourself, and you can list yourself on there, or if you're planning to co-present with someone, we do ask that this information is submitted into the call for papers and not added later. Okay, and just some other improve your chances, helpful hints. Work with your teams to pull ideas together, stronger submissions, reduce duplication, think outside the box. We're looking for unique, creative sessions. Is the topic relevant? Yes, customer success stories. Over half of our content will hopefully incorporate strong customer success stories, and then we are looking for that technical content. Okay, and now I'm going to hand it back to Mark, who's going to have a chat with Tom Nickel, one of our track owners.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Those were good comments. And so I think the key point is being unique, and how do you be unique is kind of giving the best technical information. But when she showed the tracks, she showed 16 tracks. We have a set of team members that are technical and from our developer relations program and product marketing that each mapped individual tracks. And their role is to take what they did last year. Well, they did 1,600 sessions and culled it down into 450. So that was a really hard job. So I wanted to take a moment and talk with one of our curators directly about kind of how they go through this motion and how they get to the right set of sessions that really excite the attendees. So Tom, thank you for your time today. We wanted to just kind of dive in and looking at, what are some of the cool how-to talks that you selected last year, and what are going to be some of those that you're going to look at this year?
Sure. Hey, Mark. Hi, Lauren. And hi, everyone in our audience. It's nice to, I can't see you all, but in theory, see you all. I'm excited. I was one of the track owners last year, and I'll be a track owner this year again for the architecture and migration track. So thought it'd be helpful to give you some tips. As Mark said, we get close to 2,000 submissions, and we have to prune that down to a few hundred, right? So what's going to catch our eye? I would say the number one most important thing is good customer stories. Customer stories that will have broad appeal for our audience, right? So when Lauren says that audience takeaway tab is super important, like it's true. It's arguably the most important one, because we want to know when our audience, when our guests sit down in this session, how is it going to benefit them, right? What are they going to walk away knowing or understanding better? And so some of the things that are typically the most persuasive for us, the folks who evaluate all these are, as I said, a good customer story, but something that's going to have like broader appeal. And what I mean by that is, if you have a super unique, super technical story, but it only applies to like 4 other customers on the planet, as much as we'd love to include that for its coolness, we need to appeal to more than that, right? So we need to know, like, why would 300 people come attend this session and walk away with something valuable? Another good thing, including partners, any way you can. So if you have a customer and an implementation partner, for example, or a technology partner that was crucial, feel free to include both of them. There's no reason we can't put more than one person on stage with you, or some people do like a fireside chat where they will moderate more of a live discussion. That's worked well. Another thing that often people won't say is sometimes less is more. And what I mean by that is, when you do your submission, like, remember, we've got to vet like 2,000 or so of these. So if you've written a dissertation, like, we actually don't have time to read that whole thing, right? Or if we do, maybe we do it once. So any way that you can tell us what story you want to tell and with who, and what the audience will take away in less than like 27 paragraphs, that's actually helpful, right? Because we will have time to read that and vet that and think about that, versus sometimes we get literal novels and it's just like too much to consume at this scale. So that's actually another kind of like insider tip. Less is more, believe it or not. Another thing that will stand out, if you have tangible, measurable benefits that you can cite that were accomplished as a result of this story, that will super stand out. If you can say, our customer improved X by Y or A by C, that'll stand out. If you have customers who you started with kind of like dipping their toe in the cloud water, and then they loved it so much that they continue to expand and evolve, so kind of like a metamorphosis type story, those are very powerful as well. They'll have broad appeal, and it talks to the power of the cloud, how you can start with A and then decide you want to do B, C, D, and E as well. So those are just a few of the ways that you can really stand out while we're reading these submissions. A couple quick things that you may want to avoid. Anything that feels like a blatant sales pitch is probably just going to be a no. We get it, a lot of our, people who submit papers, they've got cool things and they want to pitch it, and we get that, but we can actually see through that pretty easily. So try to avoid just things that are obvious sales pitches. If you don't have a customer or a partner, that might not be a deal breaker. In those cases, make sure you're really explaining like something that's technical but appealing in like a how-to manner. Because obviously not everything needs a customer attached to it, but we can't just put people on stage for the sake of having them on stage. So in lieu of a customer or partner, technical depth, that's going to be beneficial to a wide range of our audience. So those are the things that stand out to me as kind of like helping you hedge your bets and helping you not hedge your bets. Mark, any follow-up questions that like I didn't touch on that you think would be helpful for our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I like what you were saying about the sessions that can be sales pitches. I think sometimes the partners want to promote their solutions, which is great. We want you to do that at Next. But I think, as you alluded to, for partners that are submitting things, outline the solution, but outline the customer that's using it and talk about what they solve with it. And also, it's good for partners to submit panel ideas with their customers, and it's their forum. This is not part of any sponsorship, so it's a great way. We are looking to include partner content with their customers in this. So if you then go on to sponsor Next and be a marquee or platinum sponsor, and you get additional breakouts, that will also be in addition to what's part of the CFP here. Let's go back to some of the point you mentioned about technical learning. What were some of the areas that when you get to a deep technical session, what would you suggest that a customer do that? Because I know a lot of those are Google-led sessions, but we've seen a couple of the customers talk about their Kubernetes work. Talk a little bit about where you see customers or partners fitting into that domain of deep technical learning.
Yeah, so I mean, it can span a whole bunch of different things across all of our topics, and obviously, I'm focused on the migration side of all of this. So we had a few non-Googler-led sessions where people told migration stories that I wasn't even aware of, and what they did was they really stepped through some significant part of that migration, whether it was the planning phase, how they worked with our PSO and our tech partners and implementation partners, or maybe it was a really good deep dive on customer had 1,000 applications and they had to pick the first 20 to migrate. Like, how did they actually go through that evaluation process, that vetting process, and then the actual migration process? So in that case, they would have gone deep on things like their discovery and assessment process, how they cataloged the applications that they had, how they built their cloud, architecture from the ground up, all the way down to like, permissions and their folders and their organizational units, whether you're using VMs or containers and things like that. So there's always a way to, step deeper down into like the technological components of it, while still maintaining kind of like broad appeal. So that's what I saw. And there are other sessions where people can get even more technical, like the DevOps sessions. I mean, I think there were sessions that were literally like doing demos and showing like code on screen and things like that. Probably less appropriate for like migration, but in some cases it totally works. So again, I think regardless of how deep technically you want to go, just make sure it's going to be appealing to enough people to get like 300 people in a room to come watch that, right? And then kind of gauge from there. And once you are submitted, you typically will be able to kind of like bounce ideas off Googlers, and we'll help you kind of like fine tune and refine as we go as well. But early on, yeah, like audience takeaway, customer value, how do you walk through a problem that other customers are probably facing? Like that's what I would keep top of mind for me while I'm writing these proposals.
I think that's a good takeaway, is like think about what 300 people will want to hear, and tie it to kind of what other people are expecting and dealing with in the industry. Just two more questions. One is, how do you think next content will balance between just cloud native, which we've been having traditionally, with hybrid solutions, to both legacy and and migration forward?
Definitely going to be a mix. I mean, the cool thing is that we do have we have a couple hundred slots, right? So we can talk about everything, and we should talk about everything. At the end of the day, we're asking ourselves the same questions. What challenges are our customers facing? And, obviously there's a huge chunk of customers who don't want to be just cloud native, right? There's hybrid cloud, there's multi-cloud, there's solutions where they've got a whole bunch of stuff on-prem and it needs to stay on-prem, but they want to talk to what they have in the cloud. So especially in migration, I think people would be surprised how often we talk about on-prem stuff, migrating, but also staying on-prem in conjunction with other things. So don't think that you've got to tell like a purely cloud native story. All of our customers around the world, they do a lot of different things. They've got different environments. One of the reasons I love cloud migration, which is like my area of focus, is because literally every customer is different. Every migration journey is like a snowflake. They're all unique. So it's always different, it's always new, and there's patterns that you can find, and it's really fun finding those patterns that you can apply across these different unique migrations. But that's, they're all different, right? So yeah, don't get hung up on just cloud native. There's plenty to be said about hybrid, multi, on-prem, legacy. And in fact, one of the things I spend a lot of time talking about is how do you get legacy stuff in the cloud? And if you can't, how do you supercharge it on-prem to take advantage of what is in the cloud, with things like Anthos as one example?
Nice. So we'll sum it up and go to Q&A. So last quick tips and tricks that you want to throw out?
Yeah, tips and tricks. Like I said, good customer stories, good technical depth, but something that's going to have broad appeal to 200 or 300 people that are going to read that abstract. Like, remember, people are going to be reading hundreds of these things on the session catalog, and they've got to say, this is appealing and interesting and helpful for me. I'm going to dedicate my hour to this session. So tell us why that hour is good to be dedicated to those customers. That's like the best thing I can recommend. And if you can, less is more. Like I said, tell us straight up, what are you going to say? How the customer benefit? What are you going to show them? We don't need like a PhD length submission to accept you. And in many cases, like I said, less is more. So that would be my quick like tips and tricks.
Thank you, Tom. This was really helpful. So I think it's great. We'll get started and we'll move on to key dates.
Thanks
Thank you,
so
Tom.
much, Tom. That was awesome. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so before we open it up to Q&A, I'm just going to close with some key dates that you should be aware of. So as I mentioned before, we are opening our call for papers today, later this afternoon, and it will stay open through December 13th. From the time we close it on the 13th through the end of January, we will be working through our voting and review cycles internally. We have a huge team of subject matter experts across Google Cloud that participate in our scoring process to help us pick the best content for the event. And then we're hoping to get notifications out by the latest early February. So there should be additional key date information in the FAQ. And just one other thing I wanted to highlight was for our 16 technology tracks, we do have the descriptions of those tracks available for you to review as well. So hopefully that will provide additional guidance. Okay, should we go to Q&A?
Let's go to Q&A. Yeah, so I like what Tom said about the titles and descriptions is just really nailing down what people can expect and take away. I think you had some good points because I think
short and sweet. Keep it concise but catchy. It definitely helps when we're getting like 2,000 submissions and have this team of experts that have to start reviewing, and it's a lot to review. So.
I know, and I think last year, it doesn't increase your chances if you increase the number of submissions you have. It's not like a raffle.
Right.
So if you submit 30 sessions, it may not increase your chances.
Right.
So if you submit 5 really good quality ones, it will definitely increase your chances.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it looks like we have some questions. So will diversity include diversity in types of customers? Not just the type of speaker? Yes, absolutely. So we do have goals and objectives around our industries that we will be looking at. We actually work very closely with our industries team to help make sure we have a nice representation from the various industries. I don't know if you want to add to that at all.
No, I think that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be examples and success and innovations, and customer innovation will lead kind of the directive on how diverse the industries will be.
Yeah. And then the URL for the CFP is not available yet, so we will be launching later today. So we'll be sending out notifications. So yes, keep your eyes out for that. We'll make sure it is sent to everyone on this call today. Let's see.
So once submitted, once the CFP is submitted, can you bounce ideas around with Google once submitted or after accepted? Typically, if you are interacting with your Google team, it might be helpful to let them know what you're submitting and get some additional ideas. But typically after the content reviews, it's after accepted. It's when we'll hone into more of the depth of that.
Yep. And then the question too, are the types of sessions, do the types of sessions you can submit for include workshops and labs? So no, but I will say with a caveat that we do have other teams that we're working closely with, including our labs team, our dev zone team, that will be monitoring the submissions. And so they will be looking through stuff and hopefully be able to grab some ideas from what gets submitted through our CFP.
So there's a question, what are the key dates that were mentioned in the agenda? We could slide, flip back if you want to
they'll
show
also
that up.
be the biggest key dates for you to remember. Today we're launching the 11th, and we'll be closing on December 13th. After that, we do a lot of internal reviews for the selections process, and you'll be notified in early February. We don't have an exact date for this, but hopefully once it gets closer, we'll be able to provide an exact date.
So question, would a talk on business benefits ROI of G Suite and other Google Marketplace apps be a valuable topic? Yes, it would. Are there specific topics that you guys are looking for over other ones? I mean, it's broad. Again, we're going to cover all in the, if you look and read the descriptions of the different tracks, we're covering technology discussions and those at the different learning levels. So an introductory, intermediate, and advanced. So again, it kind of focuses on the customer innovation that is happening in the different industries by you customers, is going to help lead that selection process.
Okay. So to Anton's question about notifying people of February, 1.5 months. So yes, we do notify about just over 2 months before the event. So basically by then, at that point, you're notified, and we launch our online catalog in early February, and you start building out your presentation. So the timing is in line with what we've done in the past. I know it seems like a lot, but the biggest part is just making sure we pick the best content. That's actually the hardest part, is of the 2,000, finding the 500 plus that we want to select. Assume the session descriptions mentioned are in the CFP. Yes. So we do have a document that you can actually, in our FAQ, it links to a track description document. So please do check those out. I think they'll be really helpful.
So this, can Google offer GCP credits to participants, especially in special programs or sessions? I think this is related to registration, which I don't have the answer to.
I don't either. We can check it out and get back to you.
No, I did think they did something similar to that last year. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd have to check. I love all the what's the URLs coming later.
Yeah, so by the nature of you being on this call and receiving an email for the live stream, we are going to email you the URL and information just to follow up from this. And then for those, again, we know that some of your peers weren't able to attend, so please do share the live stream recording with them, and certainly let us know through our alias if you have any questions.
Okay, and there are a couple more questions that are coming through we can definitely take. So is it preferred to have a Googler co-presenter versus just partner customer? Not necessarily. Sometimes as submissions come in, we might look at partnering a Googler with the customer or partner story, but it is not a deal breaker if you submit without a Googler. So we actually encourage it, so please do.
Yeah, and so one of the things that happens is, of course, we don't make it visible what's coming in. So oftentimes there's overlap between session ideas. So what we try to do is when we have good overlapping session ideas, we try to combine the speakers who have a spirit for presenting on that topic.
Yep. And then let's see, there was one, is the venue, so the venue, yeah. So I guess we didn't say this. So it will be at Moscone Center in San Francisco
I didn't
again.
say that.
Once again, did you? Okay.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. The only difference with the dates, so it is April 6th through the 8th. The cadence is slightly different. We will start on a Monday this year and go through Wednesday.
Yeah, so we will have, last year we didn't have all venues. This year we'll have Moscone West, North, and South. So we'll have all 3 Moscone venues, as well as additionally hotels around.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe people that attended last year may have noticed that we didn't have West.
Yes.
Because
West
just
is
walking
back.
this way, back and forth across the street, and now we have to walk across the other street.
Marriott
But
and various other hotels.
most of our breakouts will probably be in Moscone West.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's wait another second and see if we get any more questions. These are great questions. And we hope this was helpful to all of you. Last year I presented with a partner. Are you saying as a customer I can present without that connection? Yes, absolutely. We apologize if there was ever any miscommunication around whether we want to hear from customers directly. We do. So please do submit your story. And, we're looking for all ways, whether it's with a Googler or solely as a customer partner. All angles. And then, yay for Moscone, agreed. Is Partner Summit running at the same time as next? So yes, is it on Monday? Is that right?
Yeah, I think like last year they kind of peppered it throughout the week, so I
Yeah,
think it's on Monday.
starting Monday.
Yeah, and Tuesday, but it will be there at the same time.
And Monday is the day one. So, okay, there looks like there's some video connection issues for the UK team. Yeah, so we'll get this recorded and shared out after and see what might be going on with that.
Yeah, so sorry if the UK audience couldn't see this video live stream, but we'll have a recording to make sure that you can see it.
Okay.
We apologize for that.
Are there any more
Any other questions?
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you all
Well, thank
so
you
much
very
for
much, and we'll see you next year.
Submit. CFP coming later today. Thanks, guys.